Welcome to the Core Cultivation Podcast, where we break down the moves that matter most for your mental and physical well being. I'm Marcia, your wellness architect with a mic, a mat, and a mission, and this is where coaching meets real life so you can commit, own, rest, and reflect, and engage your way to better health. Before we get started, please remember the information shared here is for educational purposes only and is not for formal medical or mental health advice. Always follow the guidance of your licensed healthcare provider. If you're in crisis, please dial 988 or go to your nearest emergency room. By listening, you acknowledge that you are responsible for your own mental and physical well being, and you release Psycore Fitness, me, and any affiliates from any and all liability. Let's get started. Hi there. Welcome back to the Core Cultivation Podcast. I'm Marcia, and today we're talking about sedentary behavior. I did want to share some of my personal experience with the impact of sedentary behavior. Some years ago, when I was supporting military family members and service members, I was traveling a lot for that job. I literally was a road warrior. I would drive for long hours from one location to another location, to one military unit to another military unit, to a community where I could get connected with family members or spouses or whatever. Aside from the driving, I'm staying in a hotel. I don't have necessarily a network of people or social life. I'm just there to do my job for whatever limited a time I'm there, and then I'm back on the road. I would try to break it up with some movement. At the time, I was doing pole fitness as my main form of movement. And when I traveled, I would try to get connected with pole fitness studios in the area, and that would help. I would also try and identify some parks to go to. I would maybe find a park and go walk periodically, and then I would do workout videos in my room. But many times I would be in my room sitting and laying around when I was not doing the movement or the traveling. My brain started to feel like it wasn't a brain fog. It just felt like my brain was not sharp. I did not have that cognitive edge and acuity. My brain felt mushy. I don't really have a better way of articulating it. I was not as sharp, I was not as quick, and I just did not have that cognitive edge. And even now, while I am active, I'm still guilty of sitting behind a computer for hours at a time. So at that time, I'm driving for hours, sitting for hours in my hotel room and driving to these different locations where I then might get out of the car and sit down and talk with someone. And now, still guilty of getting behind a computer for hours at a time, telling myself, okay, I'll get up as soon as I get to dot, dot, dot. I'll take a break and move as soon as dot, dot, dot. But it doesn't happen. And so, my last fitness conference that I attended, the idea of going to fitness conference, you're in fitness classes all day, moving, getting active, and I just knew that I was going to be beat down and beat up. But the truth of the matter is, that was not the case. I actually felt better and stronger when I was at that conference than when I came back home and got behind the desk, working behind the computer, which was the reality check. It wasn't the moving that was breaking me down. It wasn't the moving that was creating the random aches and pains in my body that I experienced prior to the conference. It was the sitting. It was the lack of movement. And let me start but build from there. We know that there is a negative impact and a physical toll on the body as a result of sedentary behavior. And sedentary behavior being basically anytime you're awake but not doing anything and not moving, laying down, watching TV, sitting up in your devices for extended periods of time. We know that that is not good for the body. We know that it's going to contribute to weakened muscles. If we're sitting, that's going to impact the hips. This is why a lot of people are dealing with low back pain, a lot of which has been exacerbated because of the pandemic. We have these random aches and pains. Glutes are weakening. Everybody wants to have a nice butt and a nice booty, but if you're sitting all day, you are undoing any kind of work that you are putting in trying to make it look good. And also consider your posture. How are you sitting? Are you hunching and rounding your back? Is your head down and your neck rounded because you're looking in a device and your core is not engaged? All of that is bad for the muscles, bad for the bones, also bad for the blood flow and the cardiovascular system. It's going to slow circulation. Things just don't flow so well when you are being still. That is going to contribute to other cardiovascular conditions and heart disease and higher blood pressure. Looking at how that can then ripple into metabolic conditions. How does that blood flow and that blood circulation impact your metabolism and your ability to process different things in the body and in the blood? How does it impact something like diabetes risk? And then, of course, there is neurological challenges because if you're not moving, you're not getting blood flow and oxygen to the brain, which means your brain is not functioning at its best. When it comes to your breathing, when you're sitting, everything is compressed. The lungs are compressed, so your breathing is going to be more shallow. Your digestion is going to be slower. Organs are stacked on top of each other, so you've got that compression from gravity that can impact your mood. We all know this stuff. What I want to shift and highlight more is not just the impact on your physical body and the toll on your body, but also the toll on your mind and on your brain. I mentioned that when you are sedentary and you're not moving, there is less blood flow and less oxygen getting to the brain. So I'll start with an example. Whether you are someone in the workplace or you are working at home and maintaining a home, if you've been sitting for a while, have you ever been in a space where you're like, why am I not getting anything done? Or why is this particular task taking so long? Have you been trying to write an email, but for some reason, this email today takes up way more time than it should? Or a task that usually is pretty easily done is cognitively challenging for you? When you are not active and when you are sedentary, your brain function goes down. You have slower processing speed. I think of it as a computer. Your RAM, do they still have RAM? Your memory, your disk drive is fragmented. It's not in an ideal condition to do the work that you need to do. Slower processing, less focus, memory lapses. And so when your brain is not at the level that you need it to be, you can be fully aware of this happening. You can be aware that why am I not getting this? I keep making mistakes or this is taking way too long. So when that happens and you observe the cognitive challenges that you are having, how does that then impact your mental and emotional wellness? That creates frustration. And so I'm speaking about it here when it comes to sedentary behavior. But if you think about this, this could also apply to individuals who are dealing with actual cognitive decline and different types of dementia. They can be fully aware that, wait, I'm not recalling things the way I used to, and things don't seem to be coming to me as quickly as they used to. That creates fear, that can create shame, it can create frustration. If we dial it back to the present, and maybe you're just in a work situation and you're trying to get a project done, but you're not feeling that you're progressing like you need to, how does that impact your ability to work effectively? How does that impact how you are being evaluated when it comes to your work performance? If you are working and maintaining the home, and you're not able to get things done because you've been sitting for periods and you don't have the energy and you don't have the motivation, then you're not able to get tasks done around the home. How does that impact your ability to feel that you can accomplish the tasks that you need to? It can create an emotional cycle that can put you in a place of experiencing depressive and anxiety symptoms because you feel like I'm not getting this done, I'm not performing effectively, something is wrong with me. And that just cycles back into I'm not going to be able to get this done, I'm not performing effectively. And so it goes on and on. Or I'm tired. And so I sit more. As long as I continue to sit, I don't feel any better, and as a matter of fact, I feel worse, which contributes to my inability to get things done. And when I can't get things done, that takes away my motivation, my confidence, my energy. It spirals. It can snowball into not a great thing. So, what does all of this mean? Think about it in this respect. Again, sedentary lifestyle. It doesn't just impact the body. I've highlighted how it impacts your brain functioning, but it can also chip away at your individual level of confidence and your emotional and mental health as well. And sometimes we don't think about that. We don't attach the two, but the lack of movement takes away your ability to perform at a level that you would probably like. And then you start feeling bad about your performance or your energy level, and it all just feeds into each other. So then what do we do about it? Okay, well, I better get moving. Let me find some time to work out. I'm going to the gym these days, and this time I'll get this 30-minute workout and I'll go walk or I'll do some yard work on this day and I'll be out there all day. So that'll be a good workout. Here's the challenge and something for you to consider. If you're moving, that's great. Glad that you are doing it. The challenge here is that you need to be moving constantly throughout your day. One single workout a day is not going to erase 8, 6, 10, however many hours of sitting you are doing. You need to move throughout your day. The American College of Sports Medicine identifies sedentary behavior as an independent risk factor for various diseases and conditions. What does that mean? Sedentary behavior, separate from the amount of movement that you get, can still cause and contribute to your developing various conditions and diseases, which says it's not about how much you work out. You can be in great condition. You can work out every day for 2 hours at a time. If those 2 hours are in one block and you're sitting the rest of the time, you are still at risk of developing some of those different conditions. And so the recommendation is breaking up sitting every 30 minutes with light. 30 minutes, that's what I said. So now, as you're listening to this, ask yourself, how long ago was it that you moved? How long have you been sitting there listening to this or whatever else? And has it been 30 minutes or longer? If so, get up. No judgment. Move. Your brain and your body don't need a giant serving of movement or a super intense workout at one part of the day. It wants regular feeding. Feed me movement on a regular basis, and it doesn't have to be a lot. You think about it like your metabolism. Feed me a little something throughout the day so I can keep moving and it keeps me fed. It keeps my body fed. Your body and brain don't want one intense or large scale workout session a day. It wants and needs little bits and regular bits of movement throughout the day, just like nutrition, just like food. We want to feed ourselves throughout the day, not just in one big sitting. So, that said, You got to start looking at yourself. Always challenging you to do a self check. How many ways? Let's not even look at the time that you're sitting yet. How many ways are you sitting throughout your day? In your commutes, whether it's car, train, bus, when you get to whatever destinations you have, are you sitting there at your desk? Are you sitting on your couch watching TV? Do you plan to binge your favorite television shows, movies, or get your games in on the weekends sitting down? When you are eating, are you sitting down at the table? When you are lying in bed, maybe after you wake up, are you scrolling through your phone? You're awake, but you're not moving. Maybe before you go to bed, you're scrolling, not moving. Then, how long are you sitting? Add all of that up. How long are you really sitting? I can remember visiting one of the recruiting units doing work with the military, and this particular location stood out to me because one of the officers had a standing desk. And whenever I came into that office, he was standing. Sometimes I would see service members using different equipment or had a Bosu ball to balance on, just different things because they knew that sitting was not good for them. So again, asking yourself, how many ways are you sitting? How long are you really sitting? And how is that impacting not just your physical health, but also your brain health? How is it impacting your cognitive functioning and your cognitive edge? And how does that in turn impact your emotional health? Are you feeling bad about your ability to do things or ability to accomplish tasks? And is your self confidence and your efficacy in certain areas being challenged? Or do you have concerns about your abilities? Is it maybe because you're sitting? Is it possible that your confidence in your ability to get certain things done and accomplish certain cognitive tasks is affected because you're sitting too much? I don't know, but these are questions to ask yourself. And so, going back to this fitness conference that I went to where I thought I was going to feel beat up, but in fact, the random aches and pains that I had in my body disappeared and I felt stronger and basically more alive. That was my wake up call. Okay, I need to get moving more and I need to stop sitting as much as I'm sitting. So, what did I do? I pulled back out my standing desk. So, being reminded of the movement and thinking about the service member at that particular military unit, I broke back out my standing desk. I put it up because I thought it was in the way, but there's a toll that the sitting and the sedentary behavior has taken on my body that I needed to get that back out. So we broke back out the standing desk, and I also started moving again, even if it was only for a short period of time. It's not about doing everything all at once and getting it perfect. Little things matter. Little steps, small steps forward matter because a step forward is still a step forward and that's still progress. So this brings it all back to you. Now, what are you going to do to get yourself moving? How are you going to stand up and avoid sitting? How are you going to shift this behavior from being so sedentary to being more active and getting movement in across your day? If you are looking for ways to get moving more and maybe looking for ways to avoid getting stuck behind your desk or stuck in a seat, then I invite you to join me for a Wellness Workday. The Wellness Workday is basically just short, brief movement opportunities, literally sprinkled across most hours of the day. We have about 10 minutes of movement that we will do at the top of most hours to just break up periods of long sedentary behavior. So, whether you are in the workplace or at home juggling things, 10 minutes is something that's manageable for everybody. Whatever it was that you have to do or need to get to, it will still be there in 10 minutes. The other thing is that if you are considering getting moving or apprehensive about getting moving and think that a long workout is something that you're not ready for, or you just want to try and sample some different movement types, then the wellness workday is a great way to do it because we have different forms of movement that we do throughout the day. So feel free to check that out. That information will be in the show notes. If you're looking to get more involved with your movement and build strength, balance, independence, energy, then I encourage you to look at core functional living and just sign up for the interest list for that program, which will be coming soon. So I appreciate you hanging out with me. Until we meet again, try to avoid the sedentary behavior. Stand up instead of sitting down, and remember to commit on, rest and reflect and engage. Keep doing your core work. Thanks so much for joining. I will see you next time.